Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May peace of Allah be upon you all. This lesson focuses on translation challenges from and to Arabic and English languages. And this comes in a series of courses and lessons focusing on the development of translation theories and approaches dating back to the Roman era, Umayyad and Abbasid periods and the 19th century. The previous lesson focused on translation shifts and changes proposed by John Cuthbert. Today, we are going to focus on the challenges that the translator faces while translating. Peter Newmark, a scholar, defines translation as a craft. In Arabic, a craft means a sana. It consists of carrying the same message from the original text to the target language text, the same message. However, while translating, there is a loss of meaning anyway. So the translator either over translate means putting much detail into from the source text to the target text, or under translating meaning just putting brief ideas, and hence it is called generalization. In the process of translating, there are a series of steps. The starting point is the source language text. The translator tries to understand the text. The translator reads the text and considers or takes into consideration the intention of the text, as well as the intention of the translator himself, why he wants to translate this text. Then the type of the text. We are going to tackle different types of texts in a minute. The translator also should take into consideration the readership, the people who are going to read the final product. The setting includes the place where the text is going to appear, including the culture also of the original text. Connotations and denotations of the lexical words are very important and also carry the message of the source language text. The final step is formulation and recreation of the message into target language text. The texts are of three types: expressive, for example, literature or texts, imaginative literature, or personal correspondence; informative, such as technical reports and scientific papers; and persuasive writing, such as publicity and advertisements. In dealing with these three types, Newmark suggests also numerous strategies of translation, but two of them he says, are very important and can be applied in dealing with these texts. So the first one is semantic translation. That is over translating. It means following the thought processes of the author bit by bit and giving much detail. In this strategy, we focus on the source text. But in the communicative translation, the translator focuses on the target text and tries to under-translate. It means be simple, clear, brief, and give the gist of the message. We are focusing in this lesson on challenges that the translator faces while translating. Peter Newmark says that the chief difficulties in translating are lexical, not grammatical, such as words, collocations, fixed phrases, and idioms. And in dealing with these challenges, the translator has to choose the right procedure. The first one is word for word, which means preserving, keeping the word order and translating the words singly out of context. As an example, الرجل الطويل أخي. So we are going to translate word for word. الرجل, the man. الطويل, the tall. أخي, my brother. The result is the man, the tall, my brother. Is it acceptable in English? No, it's not acceptable. So let's see the other procedure, the literal translation. The difference between literal translation and word for word is that the grammatical construction, it means the word order, for example, is converted into the target language equivalent. However, the lexical words are translated singly and out of context. Let's see an example. The reciter repeated the verse twice. We are going to translate it word for word first. The reciter, al-qari'u, repeated أعاد the verse, al-ayah, twice, مرتين. Now, literal translation. The reciter repeated the verse twice, أعاد القارئ. What happens here is that we converted the verse, the word order, into the target language equivalent, which is al-jumla al-fi'liya, that starts with the verbal sentence that starts with the verb. And we continue, al-qari'u أعاد القارئ الآية مرتين. These two versions, an Arabic speaking person or competent one may not accept these two and may suggest another version of this translation and says ردد المقرئ أو القارئ الآية مرتين. And this represents the equivalent, the functional equivalent that has the same function as the original text. Still dealing with the lexical word challenges, and here we compare between Arabic and English language in terms of word order. So Arabic provides variety of word order. For example, أرسل الله رسولا, verb, subject, object. الله أرسل رسولا, subject, verb, object. أرسل رسولا الله, verb, object, subject. And رسولا أرسل الله, object, verb, subject. So Arabic provides various options for the translator to choose to transmit the message, depending on the focus of the original text, whether the verb, because this comes in the beginning of the sentence, or the subject, or the object. In English, we've got only one word form of sentence, which is subject, verb, object, or complement. We are still dealing with the lexical challenges. Let's take an example. المؤمنون إخوة. 2 words, but this constitutes a sentence in Arabic. So if we try to translate these 2 words, it will be very simple because they are not many, and it will come, the believers are brothers, and it is successful. But the more we add words, more challenging the translation will become. For example, if we add innama, so here it is a little bit challenging. The first translator says only the believers are brothers. The competent Arabic-speaking person wouldn't accept this translation. But with this, the believers are but brothers, and this use this meaning of but here, which puts emphasis on brothers. This is a functional equivalent to innama. The meaning will become the believers are nothing else than brothers. If you think about the believers, nothing will apply to them except you say that they are brothers. Of course, one of the challenges that the translator faces is the multitude of meaning of lexical words. Let's take an example, for example, write in English, and see how the number of meaning it has in just this simple text. The teacher asked the student to draw a right angle, which means زاوية قائمة, but insisted that the student draw it with his right hand, يده بيده اليمنى, while the student was left-handed. Of course, he didn't draw it right. Right here means على نحو صحيح. And the teacher gave him low mark. Right away, على الفور, the student went to the headmaster and complained that it was his right. من حقه أن يرسمها بالطريقة التي تلائمه. To draw with whichever hand he liked. The headmaster was an upright man, رجل عادل, and agreed that he was right, بأن التلميذ كان على حق. And the teacher didn't treat him right. لم يعامل الأستاذ التلميذ بعدل, and ordered the teacher to write and يصحح the student's marks. So here, the challenge here is that the translator has it's necessary for him to have all the meanings all the meanings of the word right beside him, so that he can choose the equivalent word for each. This also takes place in Arabic. It's not only in English but also in Arabic. Let's take the example ضرب. ضرب اللاعب الكرة. The player hits the ball. Another example. ضرب مثلا. He set an example. ضرب في الأرض. He traveled through the land. ضرب أخماس في أسداس. he schemed and plotted. ضرب النوم على أذنيه. The sleep overtook him. So the translator is compelled, as Mujahid says and other scholars, that he should have important knowledge about the two languages. Another example is أدى. I like this word. أدى. أدى لحنا، أدى مأمورية، أدى يمينا، أدى شهادة، أدى وظيفة، أدى رسالة. And each one has got a specific equivalent in the target language. We are going also to talk about the characteristics of the adjective in both languages. The adjective in Arabic is in complete agreement with the noun. Agreement in the following systems. You remember systems, plural systems or number. So definiteness, it is a system. There is definite, so indefinite and indefinite articles. And in English we've got also zero article. And also in Arabic, gender, either male or female. Case, either nominative, it means subject or الفاعل. Accusative, المفعول به. Genitive, مجرور أو الإضافة. In number, also singular, dual مثنى in Arabic, or plural. So these, in all these aspects are applied when we have an adjective following a noun. In English, there is no agreement between the adjective and the noun that it modifies. So these are just explanation of these systems. التنكير means indefinite article. تعريف definite article. التذكير male. التأنيث female. الإفراد singular. التثنية dual. الجمع plural. الرفع nominative. النصب accusative because it is مفعول به. الجر genitive or الإضافة. For example, رأيت رجلا فقيرا. رجلا فقيرا. So this adjective follows the noun رجلا. It is indefinite and singular, and also male, or it is male. الأشخاص الشرفاء. It is definite and plural, and also male. سيدة محترمة. So here تأنيث singular and indefinite. طفلان صغيران dual, indefinite, and so on. So the translator should be aware of these differences. We go to another topic, which is the grammatical collocations, المتلازمات اللفظية. And we start with the examples from Arabic. These are phrasal verbs. For example, أتى change its meaning depending on the particle, الحرف الذي يليه, that is following the verb. So أتى إلى الباب, for example, he arrived at the door. أتى به, he brought it or he brings it. أتى على, he finished it or destroyed it. Let's take انقطع. انقطع إلى, it means that he stopped all other actions in order to devote or to focus on one action. انقطع عن, for example, he stopped an action, for example, in زيارة أو ذهاب إلى السينما, for example. These idioms are very important because this doesn't require the translator not only to be aware of the differences of the linguistic differences, but to be aware of the cultural differences. Let's see some examples. So idioms are عبارات اصطلاحية أو مسكوكة, and these they are frozen. It means you cannot try to understand the meaning by analyzing the component of the phrase or the sentence. And idioms come in different forms. For example, they can be one word, phrase, or sentence. One word, for example, تعلم. You say that person is a fox. You mean he's a cunning person. Let's go to sentence. He or she طوى صفحة الماضي. It means turned the page. He used to do something and then he stopped and then he wants to change the way he or she does things. We are still with idioms, and here we want to tackle the culture aspect of the idioms. And let's take some examples. So, and the translator should be aware of the culture aspect of these idioms. Let's take an example. Heartwarming piece of news. It means it is a piece of news that makes the person happy. That's why it is heartwarming. So if the translator is not aware of the culture included or embedded in the text, in the or in the source text, in the source language, he will say or she will say خبر يدفئ القلب, and this will not be accepted by the target people, because it doesn't comply with the target culture and the people living in the Arab world and the Arab countries. Instead, the translation, the equivalent is خبر يثلج الصدر, and this will be accepted in terms of culture of the Arabic-speaking people. So if you want to translate خبر يثلج الصدر into English and say breast cooling piece of news, it will not be understood by these people. You should put heartwarming. So the translator has got to get a considerable knowledge about this aspect. Other examples such as ناعم الظفر, which means tender nails, but this is not going to be much accepted by English speaking people. Otherwise you should say in a tender age, or a person of a tender age. It means that he's still young. Now also the translator has got to be aware of the idioms that originates in the other languages. For example, idioms calqued from English, and these calqued idioms become equivalents in function and form. It means become accepted. Let's see an example. To cry crocodile tears, it becomes ذرف دموع التماسيح. So this becomes an equivalent in the target culture and the target language. Another example, storm in a teacup, زوبعة في فنجان. To put the cart before the horse, وضع العربة أمام الحصان. All these are calqued idioms from English language. Calqued means borrowed and then translated into Arabic language. The translator also should be aware of idioms that have the same function but different expression, different wording. Let's see an example. One can't get blood from stone. We are not going to translate it word for word, but we should find an equivalent in the target culture, in the target language, and say إنك لا تجني من الشوك العنب. Of course, it is مفعول به. Empty-handed. This is the equivalent of عاد بخفي حنين. Man proposes and God disposes. أنت تريد وأنا أريد والله يفعل ما يريد. ذاك الشبل من ذاك الأسد. So you see here the words go with the culture of the Arabic speaking people. Like father, like son. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. دارهم ما دمت في دارهم. There are also idioms that originate in the universal culture. For example, necessity is the mother of the invention. It was said by one of the Romans during the Roman era. الحاجة أم الاختراع, or الحاجة تفتق الحيلة. There is also hunger is the best sauce. الجوع أمهر الطباخين. Necessity knows no law للضرورة أحكام, and so on. The final step is that while facing with idioms, the translator has got to choose among the different procedures to solve and to transmit the meaning. So one of the procedures is to borrow the word. For example, marriage, mariage de convenance. You can say it like this. And then calc on it and it becomes زواج المصلحة. So to borrow it and then translate it and becomes زواج المصلحة, and in English marriage of convenience. To paraphrase it, for example, to back the wrong horse, يراهن على الجواد الخاسر. Or to add to it, to add the words to bring the message. For example, to shake one's head, it means to say no. So this is, it doesn't need any more addition of words to transmit the meaning. But in Arabic, for example, Ibrahim Jabra هززت رأسي, but that he feels that it's not enough and added بالرفض, so that to transmit the message. That is addition. Condensation, it is the opposite of addition or reduction. Let's see here these two adjectives, deep and hoarse voice. These two become included into one word, which is بصوت متهدج. Omission, it means to delete one word, a synonym, for example. In Arabic, repetition is allowed. In English, if two words have the same meaning, it may not be acceptable to use both of them, but you should only use one of them. For example, بلا قيد أو شرط, it becomes unconditionally. تهديد ووعيد, threats. Now we come to the end of this course. Of course, we have not tackled all types of challenges. We have focused on only some. To find idioms online, you can check the website Idioms Online, and also idioms and slang, so as to understand them and you can use them in your translations. The Ma'ajim also contains idioms in Arabic. I would like to thank you for your attention, and by the end of the presentation I would like to mention these works and others that have helped in this lesson, and thank you.